This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is, Wednesday, January 11th, 2016. The title of this rant will be Shell Bomb. The Ruskies have the goods on Mr. Minority. The presidency is compromised. So what we're finding out right now, what is being revealed, is the extent of Russian hacking, Russian involvement, and Russian conspiracy with Mr. Minority's campaign and all the other things that have been in the hacking with the DNC, etc. So let's just step back a teeny bit. In 2011, Hillary Clinton bitch-slapped Vladimir in terms of his unfair election. Vladimir wanted to get, 70, 80, 90% of the vote. And of course, Hillary basically said this was not a fair election. And Putin, he's not going to forget that. And he wants revenge, let's just say. And of course, again, Vladimir, as a strong man, he needs an enemy. That enemy, whether it's completely out there for him to talk about or it's underneath, part of it was definitely going to be Hillary. Now remember, he won that election, and then he started jailing people. He jailed, the ladies, the Pussy Riot ladies, the singers. He had jailed a billionaire who had gotten into the oil industry after he took over from Boris Yeltsin. So he doesn't want anyone telling him what to do, especially someone like Hillary. So hence the idea and the backing and the concept that, hey, we need to hack into the DNC, the RNC. We need to get the goods on people, and we need to get something going so that we can get what we want out of the United States. Because, there were sanctions slapped on Putin, some of his buddies, the country. Exxon couldn't exploit the Arctic with Putin after the invasion of, not Crimea, the Ukraine. And, Putin needs his money. They're a failed petrostate. He needs the money. He needs the investment. And I wonder if the guy for state, Tillerson, I wonder if he's a stooge for Putin too. So, but basically, Putin has, as a KGB agent, they would always be looking for someone to exploit in the United States. They'd have dossiers on them. They'd have psychological profiles on them. They knew what their weaknesses were. And of course, Mr. Minority fit into that like a T, So the question was for Putin and the Russians, we've got to find some weaknesses in some of these people. Who is the most high-profile person we can get? Well, that's Mr. Minority, because he was over there in 2013. And can he become that useful idiot for us without him even knowing that he's a useful idiot for us? So, when he was over there, I think it was for the Miss Universe pageant or something like that, they knew what they had to say to him. They knew the types of things that they could do that he would like to make him feel that they're 100% on his side. Now, it sort of takes me back. So they wanted something they could, and then blackmail him with, too. So it reminds me of the Watergate thing. I think the guy's name was Jeb Magruder. He had this little plaque on his desk. This was from All the President's Men, the movie, and I'm pretty sure it was from the book, too, that Jeb Magruder had this little plaque on his desk, and it had something written in Latin, and someone asked him what it meant, and it meant, well, when you got them by the balls, their hearts and minds will follow. So that's basically what the Russians wanted to do. They wanted to get Mr. Minority by the balls and take him where they want him to go, willingly. And in the meantime, they have plenty of shit behind the scenes that they can go after him on if he doesn't go as willingly as they want. So the things that are being revealed right now, this is all possible. More will need to come out soon. Is possible money laundering by Mr. Minority on behalf of the Russian mafia. Remember, they said he has like 315 companies. There's companies within companies, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, the whole idea is to get him further away, to him to get the profits from it, and to have any, to basically not have any responsibility for the whole thing. So that's big. That is very, very big. And remember, Mr. Minority was selling a lot of his real estate, his apartments, his leases, his condos, whatever, in New York to a lot of Russians. I think it was his son was saying, yeah, we got a lot going on in Russia right now. So yeah, more needs to be find out about that. Possible also coordination in terms of Mr. Minority, his minions, Paul Manafort, and Russian intermediaries or Russian spies in the United States who are working on behalf of Putin. And again, possible on all of this, but if you look at the fact that Obama sent 35 Russian quote-unquote spies away about 2 weeks ago, were they technically his handlers? Were they the ones that were going out and meeting with intermediaries of Mr. Minority in different places around the United States to coordinate these types of things? Again, we need to find out more about this, but it would indicate collusion between between Mr. Minority and the Russian government. Now remember, Mr. Minority went over there, I think it was at 2012, 2013 for the Miss Universe pageant, and supposedly they really got the goods on Mr. Minority. So he's over there, they're sucking up to him, letting him know how great he is, all of this stuff. As the narcissist, he's just loving all of this stuff. Supposedly he went in did the same hotel, stayed in the same bedroom as the Obamas did when they were over there. But of course, doofus that he is, he doesn't have any type of encryption on any of this stuff that he has, his cell phones, anything like that. And of course, the Russians knew that he was going to be there. So what did they do? They had all of this eavesdropping equipment in his presidential suite. And, there might have been some possible, let's just call it lascivious sexual encounters that Mr. Minority had there. You can look up the word lascivious, I think that's how it's pronounced, or you can read into more of what actually happened. I'm not going to discuss that here. So, we have this great, and I'm saying great because the Russians have never let go of this Cold War concept, this great psychological warfare, because the United States is the boogeyman. They need investment in Russia, and they're not getting it because of the sanctions. And they had to find a stooge, and they found Mr. Minority as a stooge. Now, what's going to happen is there's going to be tremendous pushback by Mr. Minority and all of his, lackeys, let's just say. It's going to be intense. And let's just see how much the mainstream media will follow up on this and take the cue from other mainstream media aspects. I remember David Corn had a big thing about this, and in Mother Jones a little before the election, and then I think it was New York Times poo-pooed it, and it kind of got dropped. And we need to have follow through on all of this, and it needs to be demonstrably brought out by the mainstream media. And it needs to be questioned day in and day out to Mr. Minorities, because his is not a legitimate presidency, let's just say. We need to do this, and we need to make sure that we continue to investigate this thing, because where there's smoke, there's fire. And yes, more will be revealed.